Hey loves, wanted to come on really quickly to do homeschool confessions for the week. This is our third week into homeschool confessions, or into homeschool period. For the last 2 weeks, I have been kind of stepping back. As you all know, I am using Lesson Track. Elijah wants to interrupt. I have been using Lesson Track as far as being able to plan out our weekly assignments and our weekly activities. Amir even has her own login where she's able to log in, see all her assignments. And so in me doing that, I was allowing her to, giving her more responsibility of being able to get her assignments or her lessons done, or her assignments, activities, whatever, get all that stuff done without me micromanaging or being over her or constantly telling her what to do. It has been going pretty well, but the issue that I've found after doing some review work with her today for social studies / history is that she's just doing the work, some of the work, and not actually retaining it, or it's not sticking with her, right? And so I'm wondering, is it because I'm not actually doing a lot of instructional time as me being up there and we're actually discussing it? I think that helps her to retain information is when we have more discussions and she's able to ask more questions and just be like interactive with me and whatever that we're discussing or learning. And so we had a conversation today. I'm big on communication, especially communicating with my children. Instead of just telling them what to do, I need to explain to them my reasoning for us doing things a certain way. And of course to get her input, because her input is important. So I sat down, had a conversation with her, and we went over some of the things because we're talking about the Ice Age, going back to the beginning, talking about Ice Age, about that time period and that era. And so we sat down, we had a conversation, we talked about it, we went over some terms, which she did her terms. She defined all her terms, was able to find the terms within the literature that was provided to her, but she just wrote them and that was it. And so, like I said, I think that it'll just work better for her if with certain things or certain subjects, I actually have more of a discussion and more of a instructional time with her. So we're going to try that out next week, see how it works. We're not going to move on from this section of social studies or history. We're going to stay on it another week just so we can review some things, and I just want to make sure that she has it before we move on. That's a big thing with me. Like, I don't want to move on to another subject or another unit study, or just move on period without knowing that she understands and she gets whatever it is that she's having trouble with 1,000%. Like, that is real big for me. Like, last year we stayed on multiplication for months because she wasn't getting it, and we didn't move until she was able to know it without having to take long pauses to think about it. And so that's what my goal is to do with anything that we're teaching her. Another thing that we discussed today was, what subject area is she more passionate about? And I already knew it, but I asked just to confirm, and it's science. So she loves science. She's even thinking about going into the nursing field. And so what I just had to, of course, tell her again is that a lot of the things she doesn't like to do, sometimes in math and all that stuff, is also within science. And so just telling her like how basically like some of our lessons and some of the subjects are going to be linked or intertwined together, because in some way, shape, form, or fashion, they are linked together. I found this discussion or the talk that we had today to be very helpful and to very useful. And I also was like honest with her, like me going and coming up in school, and again I went to public school, but me coming up in school, it was hard for me to retain information as well. It was hard for me to remember things. Now I have a good memory when it comes to memorizing things or retaining the information that is important to me. But when it came to certain subjects within school, like I wasn't good at retaining the information. I loved math when I was in school, so math was easy for me. Biology, science was not. And I didn't have anyone to explain to me that how, you will be like, you use a lot of math within biology or within science. But that's not here or there. It's just that I wasn't, good at retaining information either. And that's something that I told her. Like, I try to be as transparent with her. I also try to, like I told her, I was like, I want you to be smarter than me. Like, as my child, I want you to be smarter and better than me. And she looked at me like, and I'm like, yes, like, I want you to be smarter than me. I want you and your brothers to be smarter than, all of you guys to be smarter and to be better and to do better than me. And so that was a very good conversation we had. And so next week, like I said, I'm going to have a lot. I'm going to start doing more instructional time and do more discussions. I think she learns better with the discussions and being able to ask questions. So I hope next week that will be helpful and it will help her. Of course, I will keep you guys updated and let you know the process or the status of that in my next Homeschool Confessions. Later, loves.